Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everybody. Today is another Monday night Sutta discussion, and we've been doing almost 74 Monday Sutta discussions in the past 2 years, and tonight's Sutta discussion is going to be 75th Sutta discussion. And for tonight's topic, I'm going to be choosing this interesting topic, which is called what are the 4 things that make you fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya, dhammavinayā, papatito. Now, the sutta that I will be using for this topic is going to be Paṭisota Sutta, Paṭisota Sutta, so it's kind of a prefix at the beginning of the word. Fallen, in English we call it fallen. As the topic itself shows, the most important thing is that we're going to be finding out what makes you fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya, because in Buddhist teachings, the off-quoted word that we know from the Buddha was that not the Tipitaka, but Dhamma and Vinaya. And Buddha clearly said in this sutta how one can fall from Dhamma and Vinaya. So nobody wants to fall from Dhamma and Vinaya. No, everybody wants to continue practicing Dhamma and Vinaya. Let's take a look at the sutta, and then we will be discussing what the sutta talks in great details. And for those of you who want to read the sutta at the same time, you can click on the link in the post. There is a link at the Sutta Abstract, so you can click on that, and you can see the translation. Chatuhi Bik Savatthi Nidanang. The sutta was given at Savatthi, the capital city of Kosala state Kosala. Chatuhi Bhikkave Dhammehi Asamannāgato imasmā dhammavinayā papatito pucchati katamehi chatuhi. At Savatthi, bhikkhus, monks, one who does not possess 4 things is said to have fallen from this Dhamma and Vinaya. So if someone does not possess these 4, that person is going to fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya, Dhamma and discipline. What 4? Ariyena bhikkave silena asa mannāgato imasmin dhammavinayā papatito pucchati. So the first interesting thing that one may fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya is sila, ariya sila. We call it ariyena silena. What for? One who does not possess noble, virtuous behavior, sila, is said to have fallen from this Dhamma and discipline. So that clearly shows that sila, this is not this normal sila, it's called noble sila. It is much greater than Panchasila. One may of course start from Panchasila, but noble morality, I would say noble sila, is the first thing that one has to protect. If one does not protect, if one does not possess this noble sila, one may fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya. Second, Ariyena bhikkave samadhina asamannāgato imasmā dhammavinayā papatito pucchati. One who does not possess noble concentration. So samadhi is the second important thing for the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. So if someone does not have this noble concentration, one easily falls from the Dhamma and Vinaya. Third, Ariyena bhikkave Paññāya asamannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya papatito bucchati. One who does not possess noble wisdom, paññā. Now, sila is the first one, samadhi is the second one, third one is paññā. If someone does not have this noble wisdom, that person easily drops or falls from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. Ariyāya bhikkhave vimuttiya asamannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya papatito bucchati. The last important thing that one can easily fall from the practice of the Dhamma and Vinaya is noble liberation, vimutti. One who does not possess noble liberation is said to have fallen from this Dhamma and discipline, Vinaya. Now, the most important thing in this list is noble liberation in a different sense, because if someone has not attained any spiritual attainments, that person can easily fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. As much as people talk about Sila Samadhi Paññā, we need to talk about Vimutti as well, because if we are not trying to attain at least Sotapanna level, Sotapatti level, that means we may be far more susceptible to a fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. So we are very vulnerable to this falling. So we have to be very careful about it. And what we can do is that we have to rigorously practice Sila, Samadhi, Paññā, and Vimutti. These four, so that we will not be able to fall or drop from the Dhamma Vinaya practice. The next part talks about how can one secure the position of Dhamma and Vinaya, the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. Thereby that person will not fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. Chatuhi bhikkhave dhammehi samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya papatito bucchati. So how can one secure Dhamma, the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya? Katamehi chatuhi. What for? Ariyena bhikkhave silena samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya papatito bucchati. So the first thing one can secure one's practice of Dhamma Vinaya without falling, without dropping, is to secure one's sila. Second, ariyena bhikkhave samadhina samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya appatitoti uccati. So if someone wants to, the same thing, wants to secure without falling from the practice of Dhamma Vinaya, one must secure samadhi as well. First sila, then samadhi. Third, ariyāya bhikkhave paññāya samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya appatitoti bucchati. Third, one has to one can secure one's practice of Dhamma and Vinaya by possessing wisdom, noble wisdom. Ariyāya bhikkhave vimuttiya samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya appatitoti bucchati. So the fourth way of securing one's practice of Dhamma Vinaya is to possess the noble liberation. We call Arya Vimuttiya. Imehi ko bhikkhave chatuhi dhammehi samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya appatitoti bucchati. So this is where we want to aim at. So we don't want to drop or fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. So Dhamma basically means teachings, and Vinaya means discipline. So these two make up a path to Nibbana, right? So we don't want to fall, we don't want to expire from these two. And at the end, this is what it says: Imehi ko bhikkhave chatuhi dhammehi samannāgato imasmā dhamma vinaya appatitoti bucchati. So by possessing these four, one can secure one's commitment, one's strength in not falling from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. So finally there is a stanza about especially about the whole sutta. Chuta patanti patita giddhacha punaragata katang kichang ratang rammang suke nanva gatang sukanti. Collapse and fallen, they fall away. So if somebody who is into things like this, which I'm going to be talking now, who will collapse and fall away is Giddacha Punaragata. The greedy ones come back again. So if people who want to be greedy, who are still being greedy, who are continuing to be greedy, so they are the people who always collapse and fall. Not even that, they fall away, continuously, repeatedly. Katang kitchang ratang rammang sukhe nanva gatang sukanti. Done is the task. The delightful is delighted in. So those are the enlightened beings, awakened beings. So they have done the task. There is no task to do for them. Done is the task. Katang kitchang ratang rammang. The delightful is delighted in. Now we know the delight of the arahants or the enlightened beings, or awakened beings. It is called passion-free delight. So it's kind of a different delight. So delight is what the secular beings enjoy, but when it comes to arahants and the enlightened beings, it's going to be passion-free delight. So there's no passion attached to that delight. If you take a look at our Therigata, how did those arahants and those enlightened beings enjoy environment and the places where they were dwelling at that time. All those presentations show that arahants enjoy better than us, much far better than us, without maintaining any passion, because they have abandoned passion at the time of their enlightenment, right? Awakening. Okay, happiness is reached by happiness. So this happiness that arahants and enlightened beings achieve is passion-free, and there is no, repercussions that karma that could create. So basically, what we have to understand is that arahants and those enlightened beings, they do not drop, they do not expire, they don't fall from the practice of the Dhamma Vinaya. But us, because we are not sometimes strong enough in our sila, in our samadhi, in our panya, in our vimutti. So let's take a look at this concept, this idea in different aspects. First, I want to pay attention to a commentarial expression by Venerable Buddha Ghosha. In one of the commentaries he compiled, he's saying like this: Tatahi Vinaya Pitake Visesena Adisila Sikha Vutta Suttanta Pitake Adichitta Sikha Abhidhamma Pitake Adipanya Sikha. So what it means is, now Buddha Ghosha emphasizes that what we can see in the Vinaya Pitaka is Adisila Sikha. So there in the Vinaya Pitaka we can see the higher sila, right? That's no surprise. But when it comes to Sutta Pitaka, what we can say is Adichitta Sikha. Now all the concentration based teachings have been given in the Sutta Pitaka. Samadhi teachings about Samadhi have been given in the Sutta Pitaka. And Abhidhamma Pitake Adipanya Sikha. And all the wisdom based teachings about the wisdom, Panya, those teachings have been given in the Abhidhamma Pitaka. So it's pretty clear Vinaya is in this discipline. Sila teachings, we can see Sila teachings in the Vinaya Pitaka, and we can see Samadhi teachings in the Sutta Pitaka, while Panya teachings, all the teachings about Panya teachings can be seen in the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Not even that. He goes on to say Vinaya Pitakecha Vitikkama Pahana Kilesana. Now he talks about the different lengths of the abandoning of the kilesas depending on the context of Vinaya Sutta and Abhidhamma. He says, Vinaya Pitakecha Vitikkama Pahana Kilesana Vitikkama Patipakkata Silas. So what he says is, we know that when it comes to defilements, kilesas, we know there are three stages of the stratification of this, the defilements. Anusaya, Pariyuttana, Vitikkama. Now Anusaya means the latent tendency, latent level of the defilement. So you can't see them, they are very latent inside of you. Pariyuttana is the obsessive tendency. You are habitualizing. Sometimes they pop up and then they go away. You can't see a certain certain systematic level of your defilements when it comes to Pariyuttana, but it pops up at some point and then they will go away at some point, but it's not stable at certain points, but it pops up and it goes away. So Pariyuttana. Vitikkama is the stage where you can see your defilements in full swing. You can see that this is the place where you're transgressing, where you're executing those bad actions, bad thoughts, bad words. Now what Buddhaghosa says in here is, he says the Vitikkama level, transgression level, execution of bad activities, bad words and all that level is what we can see in the Vinaya Pitaka. So, the teachings about the sila, with regard to Vitikkama stage of kilesas can be seen in the Vinaya Pitaka. Or I would say, when it comes to Vinaya Pitaka, we know how and in which ways we will transgress or we will commit the bad things. When it comes to Sutta Pitaka, what he says is, Suttanta Pitakecha Pariyuttana Pahana Kilesanan Pariyuttana Patipakkata Samadhis. Now what he says is, as we know, Sutta Pitaka talks about Samadhi teachings, like concentration based teachings. He talks about the abandoning of the defilements at the level of the Pariyuttana can be seen in the Sutta Pitaka. Now, for example, I would say if somebody is so serious about reading Sutta Pitaka, and that person keeps reading one by one, or Samyutta by Samyutta, Nikaya by Nikaya, that person has a better chance of reading a lot of Samadhi based teachings. In Sutta Pitaka we know how to calm us, how to find peace, serenity, right? All those teachings, with all those teachings. So when you read Sutta Pitaka, you have a better chance of abandoning your kilesas that are light at the Pariyuttana level, obsessive level. Abhidhamma Pitake Anusaya Pahanang Anusaya Patipakkata Panyaya. So when it comes to Abhidhamma Pitaka, if you are a serious reader of Abhidhamma, you have a better chance of abandoning your kilesas that are light at the Anusaya level. I mean, now for people who are reading Vinaya Pitaka, they will deal with the akusala kammas that can be seen, in full swing, right? People who can read Sutta Pitaka, who are serious about Sutta Pitaka, they have a better chance of dealing with their akusalas at the Pariyuttana level. So for those people who are reading seriously about Abhidhamma, they have a better chance of abandoning or dealing with their akusalas at the Anusaya level, which is a pretty good, nailing down kind of a task about the defilement. So my main attempt here is to tell you that what Buddhaghosa tells here is that Sila, Samadhi, Panya is what we can see in the three Pitakas. Vinaya Pitaka talks about Sila, Sutta Pitaka talks about Samadhi, Abhidhamma Pitaka talks about Panya. And at the same time, he also talks about what kind of an abandoning of defilements can be seen in each Pitakas. Sila level, Samadhi level, Panya level help us to deal with or abandon defilements that we can see at Anusaya level, Pariyuttana level and Vitikama level. So that's very interesting to understand. Now, Dhamma friends, I want to tell you, we know in the Buddhist teachings, Buddha always talks about the three disciplines. We call it Tisikka, right? So if someone wants to study Buddhism, I mean, let's say there is a beginner who wants to study Buddhist teachings, we always advise that particular person, you have to pay attention to Sila in the first place, and then Samadhi, and then Panya. But we also encourage that person, do not think that you are starting from Sila and then after some time you practice Samadhi, and after another amount of time you're going to practice Panya. No. This is how you're going to start, but when you practice, you're going to practice these three aspects of the discipline simultaneous. Let's say you are starting with Sila. With Sila, it helps you to focus your mind. Like, for example, I would say, if I conduct a meditation session, what I do is I give them 5 precepts at the beginning. Without giving precepts, they won't be able to calm them down, because if you go for a retreat or for a meditation, and then if you just sit down and if you keep focusing on what the teacher tells you, but you don't feel that you are purified, you are pure, because things you have done in the day, somewhere in the day, can pop up and it will give you a really big time, hard time. So that's why Sila is very important. Sila helps you to purify your mind for Samadhi. So what I'm trying to say is that, as an initiative, as a starter, we have to start with, we have to go with Sila in the first place. And then it helps you with Samadhi. But, after the first attempt, you're going to practice Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila means basically practicing morality. I'll be talking what that morality is after this. And Samadhi is concentration, calming yourself, and then you will be practicing jhanas and all that. And Panya means you are practicing anicca, dukkha, anatta, which you call 3 characteristics, 3 universal characteristics of the Buddhism. So that's what we say Panya. So whenever you are practicing, whenever you are keeping, whenever you are looking at yourself within and outside, beyond, from anicca, dukkha, anatta, that means you are practicing Panya. So the thing is that, not that you are practicing first Sila first, Samadhi second, and Panya third, but you start from Sila as a procedure, but after that you are practicing these 3 at the same time, because you won't have different times to practice Sila, Samadhi, Panya differently. Whenever you get a chance, you are practicing any of these 3 at all times. So that's the main thing that we have to understand with regard to this sutta, Papatito Sutta, because it's about Dhamma Vinaya, and Sila, Samadhi, Panya, Vimutti. They come from, this teaching comes from the 3 disciplines. On the other hand, if you can remember, the progressive talk, which you call Anupubbi Kata, which we know in many suttas, whenever somebody comes to see the Buddha, especially someone who has not, been a follower of the Buddha, or if somebody has not seen the Buddha and then that person is seeing the Buddha for the first time, and then Buddha uses a certain way of speech. We call it Anupubbi Kata, progressive talk. So what's the order of the Anupubbi Kata? Whenever somebody sees the Buddha for the first time, Buddha starts his conversation with dana, generosity, and then sila, third, about the saggas, heavens, and fourth, Kamanang Adinamang, the repercussions of the karmas, and the fifth is the results of practicing renunciation, letting go. So this is the order of Buddha's speech when Buddha's conversation, Buddha's way of going to talk when somebody new comes to see him. So what we understand after that, let's say somebody is very new and sees the Buddha, and the Buddha is using this Anubhuti Katha, these 5 subjects one by one, slowly, as the contents of his speech. After he done the Anubhuti Katha, then he goes on to talk about the particular topic on that day. Let's say he talks about Panya, he talks about anything else. He won't go to that topic right away. He's going to talk about Dana Katha, Sila Katha, Sagga Katha, Kamanang Adinamang, Nekkhammi Anisansang, this kind of a order before he goes on to the standardized talk. Now, what I want to show in this Anubhuti Katha pattern, style, is that Buddha uses the 3 disciplines in his this order of speech. How he uses that? Where can we see sila? Now, when we know that he uses sila katha as a second order in his order of speech, that means he emphasizes the virtue, I would say morality, virtuous behavior. And then, if you can take a look at of Kamanang Adinamang, Nekkhammi Anisansang, as the 4th and the 5th subjects of his speech gonna be about talking about the repercussions of the karmas, at the same time the results of practicing renunciation or letting go. So that means it is about samadhi, because if we are not carried away by karmas, I would say pleasures or karmas, and if we are able to practice nekkhamma, I would say renunciation, letting go, these 2 aspects keep us calm, make us calm. So that is called samadhi. So this speech, in this order of speech, we know sila means sila, and kamanang adinavang nekkhammi anisansam make up samadhi. And then when he goes on to the real subject of the talk, after the 5 orders of speech, after the 5 subjects of speech, that is the wisdom part. So wisdom is the exact topic that he will be talking to that person. So he is using all of the disciplines in all the speeches, be that a new person, be that somebody else. That's how he encourages everyone, anybody who comes to see him. So sila, samadhi, panya, they are mandatory, they are essential, so much essential for all of us to continue our practice. Now, because we've been talking about how someone can fall, drop, expire from the practice of Dhamma Vinaya, because of not understanding sila, samadhi, panya, as well as vimutti in the proper way. So this is why we've been talking about these things. Second is, if we can take a look at the Noble Eightfold Path. I think I've been talking about this Noble Eightfold Path a couple of times. If you can take a look at one of the best teachings about the Eightfold Noble Path, which is Chula Vedala Sutta, which is the 44th Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, we can see there is a conversation between Visakha Gahapati and the Dhammadina, Bhikkhuni Dhammadina. And then in that discussion, there is a question raised by Visakha: is the Noble Eightfold Path consisted in the Sila Samadhi Panya, or are the Sila Samadhi Panya included in the Noble Eightfold Path? And Dhammadina, Bhikkhuni Dhammadina says, not Eightfold Noble Path, not the Sila Samadhi Panya including the Noble Eightfold Path, but Noble Eightfold Path is included in the Sila Samadhi Panya, which means Sila Samadhi Panya make up the most, and it is the predominant, most important teaching. So somebody can say, oh, if I practice Sila Samadhi Prajna, three disciplines well, I also practice Noble Eightfold Path, right? There is no different way of practicing it. Now, in the same sutta, Chula Vedala Sutta, we can see the word called Sila Kanda, Samadhi Kanda, Panya Kanda. So, aggregate of Sila, aggregate of Samadhi, aggregate of Panya. Now, a lot of people know aggregate means Pancha Kanda, but in here, Kanda means aggregate. So, I would say Sila is an aggregate, Samadhi is an aggregate, Panya is an aggregate. So how do we take these three disciplines with the Eightfold Noble Path? Samma Ditti and Samma Sankappa, which means right view and right thought includes in the Panya Kanda, means the Panya discipline. Now, which is the most important two parts of the path, because if you don't have Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, which make up Panya, you won't be able to practice the rest, because if you don't have a vision what to do, if you don't have the thoughts of what thoughts you're gonna glide in, right, you won't be able to practice the path. When it comes to Samadhi Kanda, Samadhi discipline, we have Samma Vayama, Samma Sati and Samma Samadhi, right? So Samma Vayama, Sati, Samadhi, they all make up Samadhi, because Vayama is effort, right effort. Sati is what helps us to attain concentration. Now, a lot of people don't talk about concentration as much as Sati, because Sati is what helps you to go to Samadhi, right? Because if you don't have Samadhi, that mindfulness practice, I don't think that will make any sense, right? So Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi, they fall into Samadhi discipline. Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Jiva, which means right speech, right action, right living. These three make up or fall into Sila Kanda. So which means Eightfold Noble Path is nothing but an inclusion, total inclusion of the three disciplines. So it is very important for us to understand. Okay, and Dhamma friends, if you look at another sutta which is called Sona Danda Sutta, Digha Nikaya number 4, in this sutta Buddha's, we have a discussion that we can talk about. Just as one might wash one hand with the other, right? Just as one might wash one hand with the other, or one foot with the other, even so wisdom, Panya, is fully washed by Sila. Sila is fully washed by wisdom. Where there is Sila, there is wisdom. Where there is wisdom, Panya, there is Sila. Sila Samadhi are declared to be foremost in the world. Now, what does it say? Why there is a drop of Samadhi here? Because we know Sila is what helps us to attain Samadhi, for sure. And Samadhi is what helps us to attain Panya, right? That's why those two have been taken that way. So Sila and Panya, they work in tandem, right? So you can't separate Sila and Panya, which means if somebody wants to attain Nibbana, Sila is a must. You can't give it up, because you have to keep practicing your Sila. What kind of Sila we have to talk about here? There are three types of, three aspects of Sila that we can see. We call them Sampatta Virati, Samadhana Virati, Samuchcheda Virati. So Sila has been taken under three Viratis. Viratis is abstinences. Okay, the first one, natural abstinence, Sampatta Virati. Okay, so people who won't do bad actions, bad thoughts, bad actions due to one's social reputation. So I mean, some people, they don't take precepts, but they are not doing bad things because they are pretty much conscious about their social recognition. So if I do this, I get blame, I get criticized, I'll be on the newspapers, I be on the internet, right? I be on different places. I don't want to, take that risk. So I'm gonna be good. So that kind of an abstinence is called sampatta virati. Sometimes this person might be moral in a sense, right? Second, abstinence by undertaking precept, which we call samadhana virati. This is what we call as sila in most of the Buddhist teachings. So we give 5 precepts to people. When people come on special poy days, new moon, full moon, we give them 8 precepts. When it comes to monks, they have the Patimokkha Sangvara Sila. On some special days, some people take Ajivattamaka Sila. There are other silas, Paccaya Sannisita Sila, Indriya Parishuddha Silas. There are a couple different silas, but in general, lay people must protect their 5 precepts. You can't break one or the other one, because if you break them, that will be the biggest impediment to your samadhi. That means your sati practice. Because sati practice is what helps you to attain samadhi and then panya. So if you break your precepts, that will be the biggest impediment for not being able to calm you down, not being able to practice your meditation, mindfulness. So never ever think about breaching your precepts, right? You might sometimes belittle breaching of some precept, but don't ever think that way, because sila directly connects to panya. So if you are belittled in your sila, you won't be able to make your way to panya. So second is samadhana virati, which is what we know by normal general interpretations of sila. The first one is somebody is already moral because one is conscious about, one is overly conscious about social recognition. Third, abstinence by eradication, samucceda virati. So this is what we call morality of the arahant. So when somebody becomes an arahant, this arahant never ever commits a bad thing. So automatically not committing any bad action, bad thoughts, so bad word. So there are 3 types of aspects of practicing sila by different individuals. So basically we know samadhana virati, but some people may also practice sampatta virati, and when it comes to arhants, enlightened beings, they practice samucceda virati. So that's one area of sila. And I also want to talk about the connection between sila and tisikka, the sila samadhi panya, with the 10 fetters, dasa sangyojana. Now you may perhaps know what is a sangyojana like, right? Sangyojanas are what bind us into the sansara, this process of becoming, right? So this is the problem that we all have encountered now. So what is the connection between the 3 disciplines, sila samadhi panya? In addition, we talk about vimutti, but basically we talk about sila samadhi panya with 10 fetters. And there is a sutta called Sekha Uddesa Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya, Tikka Nipata. In that sutta it says a classification of 4 spiritually attainments, people who have attained spiritual goals, and how they deal with sila samadhi panya. Let's take a look. Sotapanna. The first person is someone who already attained Sotapanna. His sila is complete. His morality is complete. His samadhi is limited. Why his samadhi is limited? He won't be able to, just because you attain Sotapanna, you are not eradicating Kamaraga and Patika. You are sort of reducing Kamaraga and Patika unless you proceeds, right? His panya of Sotapanna person is limited. So the fetters broken are the Sakkaya Ditti, Vicikiccha, Silabbata, Paramas. Now for those who are curious about some of the extreme levels of sila is one of the things is silabbata paramasa. If somebody thinks that the mere practice of sila is what we have to do for attaining nibbana, is a silabbata paramasa. Right? So we never think sila is the starting point, but you have to practice simultaneously with other things. But sila alone will not give you the rest of the thing. Sila is a connecting, conditioning thing to the next level, which you call samadhi, panya. But in your normal life, you're going to be practicing these three simultaneously. But anyways, what I was trying to say is the levels of sila, samadhi, panya of sotapanna person. So when it comes to the sotapanna person, individual, his sila is complete, his morality is complete, his samadhi is limited because he has only reduced kamaraga and patika. His panya also limited. And the fetters he normally breaks could be sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata paramasa. When it comes to sakadagami person who has gone a step further, this person's sila is also complete. Samadhi is limited, right? The problem, folks, is now sakadagami person, according to the text, what we understand is that this sakadagami person eradicates kamaraga and patika, but this person may have additional types of passions, which you call ruparaga and aruparaga. So that's why his samadhi is limited. Even he eradicates, abandons kamaraga and patika, his panya is also limited. The fetters broken are sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata paramasa at the sotapanna level. After sakadagami level, he or she also abandons kamaraga and patika. So sakadagami person, I think we made a mistake. So sakadagami person reduces kamaraga and patika. Sotapanna person has kamaraga patika. So basically, sotapanna person's sila is complete. Samadhi is limited. That means he or she has kamaraga and patika. Panya it is limited. The fetters broken are sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata paramasa. When it comes to sakadagami person, sila is complete. Samadhi is limited because sakadagami person only reduces kamaraga and patika. Panya is also limited. The fetters broken are sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata paramasa, and a reduction of kamaraga and patika. When it comes to anagami person, the sila is complete. Samadhi is complete too. Why samadhi is complete when it comes to an anagami person is that this anagami person eradicates kamaraga and patika. But panya is limited because he or she has yet to go into a further level. The fetters broken are all the rest of the previous fetters, which you call sakkaya ditthi, vicikiccha, silabbata paramasa, kamaraga, patika. Arahants, when it comes to an arahant, his or her sila is complete, samadhi is complete, panya is complete. Why? When it comes to an arahant, at the time of becoming an arahant, this noble individual eradicates not even the ragas regarding the kama raga patika, but also the ragas towards higher realms called rupa raga, arupa ragas, manas, conceit, uddhacha, restlessness, and avicca, the most important target of all of us. So what I was trying to tell you is that sila, samadhi, panya directly connect to the fetters that we need to get over in our sansaric life. So if you are really focused on your spiritual journey, if you really want to attain nibbana, you must consistently practice your sila and samadhi and panya. So without any of these three, you won't be able to make any progress in your Dhamma path. So what will happen to you is that you will, if you are not paying equal attention to sila, samadhi, panya, what will mostly happen to you is that you will drop you will expire, you will fall, as exactly we see in the sutta, from the Dhamma and Vinaya. Finally, I want to talk about one more thing, Dhamma friends. Let's take a look at these four important practices, what you call sila, samadhi, panya, vimutti, and why they are so important, essential to the practice of Dhamma Vinaya. Otherwise, we will fall from the Dhamma. Now, when it comes to the Patimokkha's, especially when it comes to the Vinaya of the monks and nuns, we know that in the Vinaya rules, Buddha talks about falling from the Vinaya. But in the same way, we can see in here that not even that particular Vinaya that we know, which the Buddha laid down after 55, after 30 years of his life, which means at the age of his 55, something which is more important than those kind of teachings. Now, for example, I would say, we know if a monk or a nun does not, reject, does not give up his or her sila and going to do a bad thing, that person falls from the Vinaya. This is what we know in the Vinaya rules. But why Buddha has specifically talked about Vinaya in addition to Dhamma in this sutta? This is very interesting. So Buddha says, when it comes to the enlightenment, awakening, Nibbana, no one is special. Be that a monk, be that a nun, be that a lay person. Everybody has the same path to follow. That is what we call sila, samadhi, panya. So, be that a monk, be that a nun, be that a lay person, if any of those individuals, does not want to practice sila, samadhi, panya, and the vimutti, which you attain, with samadhi and panya, that person definitely will fall from the Dhamma Vinaya. Now, people might ask why Buddha did not use the word called Tipitaka at the time of at his time, because we know this Tipitaka teaching is kind of a use that we can see after the third Sanghayana. In early teachings of the Buddha, we know Buddha has used Navanga Sattu Sasana. It's a different kind of use, and what it says is that in that particular contextual identification of the teachings of the Buddha is all the stanza type teachings come under Geya, Sutta, Vyakarana. So all the grammatical type of teachings come under Vyakarana, and then all the surprising, all the marvelous teachings come under Abhuta Dhamma. So it's kind of a different teaching, and Buddha has used that use in his teachings. And also the most popular term which Buddha had Buddha used in his teachings was Dhamma and Vinaya, which we see in this same sutta. So if you really want to secure, now the second part of the sutta is really interesting. Now, in the first part, Buddha talks about this is how people fall from the practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. In the second part, Buddha clearly says this is how you can secure your practice of Dhamma and Vinaya. How can we secure our practice of Dhamma and Vinaya? Ariyena bhikkhave silena samannāgatu, ariyena bhikkhave samadhina samannāgatu, ariyāya bhikkhave panyāya samannāgatu, ariyāya bhikkhave vimuttya samannāgatu. Take a look at these words. Ariya means noble. So if we possess the noble sila, if we possess the noble samadhi, if we possess the noble panya, if we possess the noble liberation, we will not fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya. Now, I also think this way. Now, our main purpose of the Buddhist teachings is not to keep talking Dhamma. The main thing is practice, and the goal is attaining Nibbana, now at least attaining Sotapanna. So if any of us has not attained any spiritual levels that we've been talking, that means we are far more susceptible to fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya. So it's a pretty dangerous situation, right? So that's why I always encourage, you need to learn Dhamma, you need to listen to Dhamma, because Buddha says in one of his suttas, in order to attain Sotapanna, one has to do 4 things. The first thing is Parato Gosa, listening to Dhamma, just as how you're doing to me at this point. And then Kalyana Mittata, which means the company of the noble people, Sappurisas, wise friends. That's the second. Third one is Yoniso Manasikara, which is the most important thing, wise attention. The fourth one is Dhammanudhamma Patipada. That means practicing the Dhamma in the real life. There are people who want to make fantasies with Dhamma. They are fantasizing their Dhamma knowledge. But this is how Buddha says. So if, now when it comes to the Vimutti part of this sutta, whereby we can fall from Vimutti, which means as long as we are not, trying to attain, we are not being able to attain any of the spiritual attainments, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arhat, that which means we are vulnerable. We are very susceptible, far more susceptible to fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya. So that's why I'm telling you, whenever you are ready, whenever you have more sati, whenever you have more samadhi, whenever you have more panya, please try to, put effort. Use your samma vayama, sati and samadhi to go into the next levels. Otherwise, you might fall from the Dhamma and Vinaya. So it's a pretty bad situation if we're gonna keep our Dhamma, not Dhamma learning just as a mere knowledge or just as a cultural thing. That is why we've been discussing Sutta on Mondays and Abhidhamma on Wednesdays, right? So this is why we've been talking all these things, right? So Dhamma friends, I think this is what I want to tell you today. So the main thing is that if you have not practiced enough, or if you have not possessed sila, noble samadhi, noble panya, and if you have not attained noble vimutti, which means you don't have that practice, so noble sila, noble samadhi, noble panya, noble vimutti, panya vimutti, which means you are in danger. You may be you may fall from your practice of Dhamma. So you need to fine-tune, you need to speed up, you need to strengthen your practice of Sila, Samadhi, Panya and Vimutti, so that you won't fall, drop, expire from your Dhamma Vinaya practice. Any questions, Dhamma friends? Okay, I think there are no questions at this point. So let's share all the good karmas with the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us and the deities and nagas after. May all the good karmas we've been collecting so far in many ways be shared by all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñāteyo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñāteyo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñāteyo. Also, we share all the good karmas with the devas and nagas who protect all the, good beings, and especially all of you. May all you be protected by all the devas and nagas. At the same time, may they bless the whole universe for this current situation. May the Devas and Nagas also protect the Sambuddha-sasana. May they also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Ettavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Ettavata cha ammihi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabbasang patti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummatta deva naga mahintika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu loka sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta deva naga mahintika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta deva naga mahintika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti. Finally, let's make a great wish. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in all these ways be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silisse nichang vaddha pachaino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarukya sampatti sagga sampatti mevache ato nibbana sampatti iminate saminjatu. And I have one more announcement for all of you. We will be having Abhidhamma discussion on Wednesday. As regular, we're going to be talking Sobhana Chetasikas, the Chetasikas that are Sobhanas, I mean beautiful Chetasikas on this Wednesday. So please stay tuned for that discussion too. So please be safe. Have a good day for those who are watching from Asia, and have a good night those who are watching from Ottawa and Canada and the United States. Thank you.